My name is Charlie Brown, and for those of you who don't know me, I have nothing to do with roundabouts or cartoon characters. That means I have to work for a living, and that's why you've got to suffer me for the next 15 minutes. A little bit of an advert to begin with, just my credentials, I guess. He said, thank you. For a start, I've got grey hair, which means I've been around for a wee while. My background is in working in many sectors, from graphic design to financial services, and now I work as a business advisor. A fancy title, but that's where I am. Some of the businesses I've worked for, most of these are still in business, which is a compliment to me, but some actually aren't. But since 2008 in January, I've been independent, working for myself as an advisor. And I've worked for companies such as KPMG through to startups. And basically what I do, broadly speaking, go back a bit, I help businesses to improve and develop. And this is in your notes, so I'm not going to bore you with the whole 30-minute advert. When I was asked to speak, we're looking at recovery in business and all sorts of things, and there's a few things which keep coming up, raising their heads, when we're looking at recovery or any business. And there's a couple of things we want to talk about, not in detail, very briefly, because I've only got about 10-15 minutes. But basically, what I keep finding, issues which hold companies back. Planning, or the lack of it. The word hopefully, I love that, I'll come back to that. Marketing, benefits, what you're actually trying to sell, your clients are trying to sell, and money and return on investment. We keep coming across these issues where people don't quite understand or need to be improved. And if they improve, they can keep them out of the clutches of DCA and other IPs. Sorry, David. So, to run through. Planning or lack of it. In my travels, I've come across too many businesses with too little planning. And I often wonder why. Many people drift. They just drift through business life. They're often daunted by the whole planning process. And I keep coming across people who, for example, are daunted by management speak. Mission statement, SWOT analysis, executive summary. For example, I have a business, an engineering business in deepest Essex. The managing director has never been trained on management speak. He doesn't know what it means. He does know what he has to do to improve his business. So for him, a business plan is a to-do list. That's all a business plan is. Forget the big words. That's all it is, a to-do list, what you want to do this week, next month, next year. And I try to keep the planning process simple to begin with until people get into it. One of the tools which I've used is something which I call Kipling's 6 Friends. There's a man called Roger Kipling. He was a writer in the Victorian Times. He wrote, some of you will know, things like Jungle Book. And he also wrote a poem called My 6 Honest Serving Men. If you Google it, it's quite simple. I use this all the time. And the 6 honest serving men, or my 6 friends, are what, why, where, who, when, and how. You can do any business plan, even personal planning, using this tool, I guarantee it. You take this into a business and they actually understand planning. And they start to think about a simple way of planning their business. A couple of techniques to it, though. What you want to do is always the first one. Why is always the second one. And the mistake a lot of people make is they don't leave how till the last. The how has to be the last one. If you want to know more about that, it's quite complicated, but it's a simple little tool just to help people plan the business. Hopefully, I hate the word hopefully, almost as much as I hate I've got a friend. The accountants perhaps might appreciate when you come across somebody, I've got a friend who's a bookkeeper, or another one is I've got a friend who's a web developer. It's a red light for any business. Hopefully is another one. Hopefully such and such a thing will happen. Hopefully it'll be all right in the night. Hopefully things will improve. Hopefully the world won't end. Hopefully Alex Salmond will drop dead next week. But maybe not. It's all a bit of politics. There's a warning light. Actually, the word hopefully says to me there's a lack of planning, a lack of direction, a lack of decisiveness.
And it's an opening to actually talk to people about planning their business properly and getting themselves organised. And in my book, there's only two Hopes, Bob Hope and No Hope. And for those of a certain age, Bob Hope was a famous singer, comedian, who my parents used to listen to. Try Googling, it's quite interesting. Another bête noire of mine is marketing. Marketing is very confusing to lots of people, and there's lots of confusion around. I take people back to basics, and I want you to take your clients back to basics. Marketing is about finding out what your customers want to buy from you at a profit, what they need, what they want to buy from you. It's not about the Facebook, it's not about the leaflet distribution, etc. It's a basic question: who are your customers, what do they look like, and what benefits can you deliver to them? Get that right, and then you can then follow through and have an effective sales and marketing campaign. Many businesses hop straight into whatever they're going to do, the tactics, and it's something to be very, very careful about. And I could actually spend a day on this, but I'm not going to. But the second thing I often use are three words: awareness, credibility, and profitability. Awareness is where you are, who you are, what do you do. We spend a lot of time getting your information out there so people know about it. Credibility is your credibility. It's actually how good are you, how bad are you. Testimonials will say how good you are. It's all about how you can tell people how good you are. Match awareness and credibility, add them together, and you get profitability. It's a simple solution, simple formula, but it does work. One of my favourite little stories is I was a great fan of Marks and Spencer's, one of the most iconic high street brands we've ever had. For decades, they never advertised. They didn't have to. People knew where they were in the high street, knew the values, their credibility was fantastic. Everyone bought their knickers from them, and then all of a sudden their credibility went out the window, knicker elastic broke, and the credibility ended up around their ankles. And we know what happened to Marks and Spencer's, so it's time they're coming back. It's just a little illustration of what I mean about linking the three together. Got my paper here. I mentioned benefits earlier on in the previous slide. This is something which, again, if you talk to your clients and your customers, it is so important. People buy because of what's in it for them. They're not they're not interested where you live or what you do or how long you've been in business. They buy for the deal. An extreme example, for example, is that people don't give to charities. They buy from charities. They buy a good feeling, buy a warmth, a conscience. They don't give. So whatever sector you're in, people will want something back in return. It can be quite difficult going through the benefits for each business, because each business can be different. I work and live in Chelmsford, and I can drive anywhere in Chelmsford in 15 minutes. So what? That's a feature. If I put on a uniform and I drive an ambulance or fire engine, and I can get to anywhere in 15 minutes, that's important. That's a benefit. So it can vary on circumstances, on what you do and where you are. A little acid test I use for people. If somebody says to you, one of your clients says, I've got this fantastic idea, I've got this wonderful product, that's a wonderful offering, and you have a reaction of saying, so what? It's not going to work. It's going to be boring. Look for the wow. If it says wow, yeah, I like that, that's good. I'm interested in that. That's something else. You might have a winner. And lastly, KISS. Keep it simple. Stupid. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on money. There's lots of bankers and accountants here. What I'm finding, though, is, and again, it's holding businesses back, is that too many businesses, don't appreciate what money is. They don't appreciate its value, its meaning. We're living in more and more in a paperless society, cashless society, sorry. We're surrounded by credit cards, we're surrounded by statements, we look at a computer screen, we do things online. How many of businesses actually feel dirty money and actually appreciate money? So I spend a lot of time, and all of the bankers in the audience do the same thing, talking to people about funding. What is funding? cash flow, turnover, profit. Businesses have to understand what money is. It's not a spreadsheet, it's not online, it's actually the blood and the fuel for any business. And I've spent a lot of time doing that. And lastly, very briefly, I think, measure everything, I tell business people. How you use your money, how you use your time. Are you getting something back in return? Are you guys getting something today in return? It's your return on investment for you investing your time this afternoon. It could be knowledge, it could be contacts. Make sure your clients and yourselves get something back. Look, my last little anecdote. I once had a client who we had been working together, and we worked out that this guy was worth about 50 quid an hour to his business. So we got down to social media, and I asked him how long each day he spends on social media. You know, it's a bit like when a doctor asks you how many units of alcohol you drink each day. Nobody's going to tell you the real story. But we agreed an hour. So, okay, I'll give you an hour. So that's 50 quid a day, 250 quid a week, £1,000 a month. You know where I'm going on this. How much a year do you have to get to spend to pay for your hour a day on social media? And he wasn't making anything like it. He was actually losing a lot of money on those figures. He's still doing social media an hour a day, but he actually now understands why he's doing it and what he gets from each hour each day. He's getting a measurement, he's measuring what he's doing, and he's getting a return on it. It doesn't have to be money, but it can be something else, as long as your clients and your customers measure what they're doing and get a return on it. So lastly, if you can't measure it, don't do it, is my message. That's me. Thank you.